morning, everyone. Respected lecturer, Anand Mishra sir, good morning. Today we want to deliver our presentation with the title Learning Graph to Match. So, as for motivation, in the graph matching, patterns are modeled as a graph and pattern recognition amount to finding a key point in multiple inputs. So for generalization capability, it will be good if we use unseen example from real world. And also the pattern model as a graph which already optimized the node and the edges that can extract the consistency features which can utilize. So from that problem, graph matching will allow such kind of the formulation. And what is a graph matching? Graph matching consists of finding correspondence between nodes of the two graphs such that they look more similar when the vertices are labeled according to such a correspondence. So, graph matching is the problem of finding a similarity between graphs. For example, in the graph matching, you can see graph G and graph H. In here, the function 1 in the graph G, it will be similar like node A in the graph H. Function 2 will be similar in a node B, function 3 and will similar node D, and function 4 will be similar in a node C. So what is the problem then and in a graph matching? The graph matching problem is formulated with two graphs. Find correspondence between their vertices which provide the best alignment of the graph structure. Depending on the degree constraint, we can get of the graph formulation of the graph matching problem. So in the graph matching problem divided into two. One is exact matching. It contains graph isomorphism, subgraph isomorphism, homomorphism, and monomorphism. And the second one in exact matching, it contains MCS, least square formulation, graph edit distance. So for the detail of graph matching problem, we'll explain by Aditya. So Aditya, you can start explain the graph matching problem. Thank you.
Okay, this is Aditya, and we'll discuss in briefly about what exact matching is and what inexact matching is. So, on to slide number 6. Okay. So, dividing the graph matching into two different categories based on the degree of constraint which can be applied on the matching of the two graphs. It can be either exact matching or inexact matching. So, in exact matching, the degree of constraint is higher than compared to when you're trying to match two graphs in inexact matching. So the different parts, different methods in exact matching, depending upon the degree of constraint, that is isomorphism is highly constrained, then comes subgraph isomorphism, which is somewhat less constrained, followed by homomorphism and monomorphism. So isomorphism is a classic category of exact matching where you need the matching to hold in both directions. It's a bijective function between the two graphs, G and H. And this we have also gone through in detail. In subgraph isomorphism, the rules of isomorphism hold, but not with the two graphs, but one graph and the subgraph of the other graph. So it allows for some lesser degree of constraint than compared to the isomorphism one. Moving on to homomorphism and monomorphism. So these two are again methods which have even lesser constraints. So rather than having one distinct connections, homomorphism can have many to one matching connections, things like that. So what is important to discuss here in exact matching is that this will always give you the best solution possible because the problem statement is highly constrained, and also because of this, this algorithm is very compute expensive. So it is an NP hard problem, that is, it cannot be solved in polynomial time complexity. But there are ways by which we can reduce this algorithm to approximate and give a solution in polynomial near polynomial time. So these algorithms are basically inexact matching algorithms, which are NP complete, which means for them we have found an approximate polynomial time algorithms. So we'll move on to the next slide and talk about what inexact matching are. So in inexact matching, given two graphs don't need to match as an entirely every like node by node and should have bijective function and all that. But we can even a part of the graph can match with the part of the other graph, and it allows for infusion of errors in the graph itself. So and why is this inexact matching used more let's say more useful in pattern recognition is that, say you have a graph and there's some infused error in the graph, which maybe changes the shape of the graph or something to that effect, or deforms the graph somehow. Then if you want to apply exact matching on that graph, your network would never reach a solution. It would never find a match for it. But if you're using an inexact matching method, which allows for such kind of an error, your network would find some connection of that match, would find some match with some other input or object or whatever. So inexact matching gives you an advantage in this sense over exact matching. Also, one point to note here is that inexact matching would not give you the best solution. It would give you an approximate solution in kind of reasonable time, or less time than exact matching. Because inexact matching have NP complete algorithms. That is, we cannot find the exact polynomial time complexity algorithm for this, but we can find algorithms which can approximate the solutions in polynomial time complexity. So this kind of matching gives some advantage over the exact matching. The image that you see there in this slide is an example of graph edit GED, or basically graph edit distance method, where you want to match this graph on the left G1 with G2. You're trying to match these two graphs. And how you do this is you kind of go through this graph and you delete the nodes as you move along until you get to a point where you can basically closely match this graph to G2. This is just a simple example. We'll discuss another algorithms which we have worked on for this project later in the slides. So moving on to the next slide, which is graph matching in Vision. So this is just an example of how will you use a simple graph matching concept, how you comprehend the concept of graph matching in Vision. So we have two different images here. These images have been taken at different distances from the object, which is this tower. And the question is, can we look at these images and using graph matching, can we find out if these are the same images, or do they have the same object in the image? So what we do is, the first step is, when you see G and G dash, the G image, you see blue dots. These blue dots are basically key points in these images. And similarly in G dash, the yellow points are the key points of those images. And what you want to do is find these key points and then match the location of these key points with each other and see if the two images match or not. So that is a very sort of a simple explanation of what matching in Vision would look like. Algorithm in this would look like. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, which talks about different applications of this graph matching in Vision. So we have just pointed out some of the applications, such as the first image which you see on the left is basically describes object recognition. So you have this image where different objects are there, and how do you find out which object is what? So what you do is, you have a reference image again with the key points marked, and you have this image, and then you find and try to match the key points, and whichever key points match the most, like whichever reference image is key points match the most, you say that that object in the image is equal to that class. So similarly, if you move on to the second image you see there on the right corner, between walk and state. So we're trying to recognize or classify actions over here. A similar protocol can be used. So there are different applications altogether, such as you look at the third image, that would be shape recognition. The fourth one is image matching, which you discussed earlier as an example. So this would be kind of a matching example of exact matching, where you want to completely track all of these points in one object with the other object and completely match them. And the fifth one is image stitching application, where you say you have different snapshots of a scene, and you want to connect those snapshots together in order to form a complete panorama. So you can use this algorithm, graph matching algorithm, to perform this image stitching, and you can get this panorama image. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, learning graph matching. This just gives you a simple idea of how you would actually go about learning this graph matching, and how would you do this? What would be the protocol, and how would the algorithm look like? So we have also implemented this, and we'll discuss all of this in the coming slides. So we say you have a data set as G dash, a pair of images. You have this learning graph matching problem, which is to match these two images and find out if the objects in the images are the same or not. So what you can use is, you can use say maybe a simple SVM to classify these key points as they match or they don't match. A simple classifier, and your output would be something like this, something like that on the right side, where you see different points are matched to their specific key points in in both objects. Okay, so moving on, Sanyam would talk about the approach that we have taken to implement this method and in detail. So okay, handing over to Sanyam.
Okay, so the main learning algorithm which we have used is the soft SVM, which is the second category of SVM classification. And here we have actually taken the various training sets, in which we have in which we have two sets, that is query image and the test image. So basically, query image is the image which user will give an input, and the second is the training image, which we have already with the reference. So suppose you want to match an image with the other image, then you already have one image which is vectorized in the nodes which we have seen in earlier slides, that are the key points. And then we come up with a new image which we want to actually match with. So we then perform the image classification, and we perform various operations on it, so as to break the image in the key points and descriptors. So basically descriptors are the things which are the pixels of the image. Yes, before we perform all these operations, we have to convert the image into from RGB to grayscale. So basically grayscale will tell us about the luminity of the point. So it can be 1 or 0. So we can see, as in the chart, that in the training section we come up with the training set, and we classify this training set into two images, and we come up with multiple chains of two images, where in each chain we have one image as the training image, and and other image as the query image. So image A will be classified as our training image, and image B will be our test image. And same way we perform all the operations which we discussed as a descriptor and key points, and then we perform matching with each descriptor in the query image and the test image. And similarly we perform the pixel matching as well, using the kernel based SVM. So this process will be completed with a classifier model which we get as an output in training phase. And when we come up with the test image, when we give an unseen image to our classifier, basically, so that image should be recognized with the earlier images which we have actually trained. So when we come up with a new image, input image, and then we perform graph matching with each training image, and it should give us output which should look like this output, because we have performed several key points in the data set, and it should be able to create new data points or the new key points in the grayscale image of the user input. So basically, this is the process which will be performing in backend, in our learning algorithm. So coming to this implementation, just to go through this implementation phase quickly, we perform two operations to fetch the image, to load the image. So first one is the query image, second is the train image, and then we create a open CV object which is called Sift. And then this object will detect and compute the key points and descriptors. So key points are the same thing which we have marked in this dataset image, that is blue and yellow points, and the descriptors will be the pixels. And then we perform the matching, which is basically actually be matching with the training image and test image. And then we interesting point is then we consider an interesting point, which is the trade-off, or you can say that is the fine-tune parameter. So fine-tune parameter, you can note that in the fifth point, once we check if the test image descriptor have similarity to 75% with the train image, to our good array. So basically, good array is the final array which will be containing the matches or the similarity ratios. But the main thing to focus is this 75% parameter. So this parameter is actually defining how we'll be performing the matching. So as we discussed in earlier sections, that is exact matching and inexact matching, we will be performing these exact matching and inexact matching by this parameter. We perform the graph matching with theoretically. When we speak theoretically, we have to perform some checks before we say that two graphs are matched. So when there are certain theoretical points which we consider to match graph, just I'm sharing screen. And yes, so first thing is matching should not be confused with the matching which we have earlier studied in graph matching, where we consider it as the matching like this, which saturates the nodes. Suppose this is the graph, then we have this kind of matching which saturates these vertices and these vertices, or this kind of matching where we consider this as matching, this as matching, and this as matching. But what we are trying to convey in this paper or in this presentation, that we want to perform a graph matching, that how similar a graph can look like with the other graph. Focus on this graph and this graph. So when we say that the graphs are matching, we have to perform several checks theoretically. since this is an NP-hard problem, right? So we cannot come up with a perfect solution in one go that this is the optimal one or this is the optimal one. So we have to perform several checks. So first one is the number of edges and vertices. So when we check that this has six vertices, so we say that first check will be passing through that this has the this has equal number of vertices and nodes. Similarly, A, B, and C all have equal number of nodes and vertices. So first check will be passing through. And similarly, second will be the number of vertices with a given degree. So suppose when you say that these two graphs should be isomorphic, then we also have to check that how much degree they are containing. So suppose we come up this graph and we can directly reject this as not isomorphic because it has a maximum degree 2 in this graph, but in this graph we have a maximum degree of 3. So we can directly reject this claim that this can be isomorphic in fewer steps only. So then the third point, we check the degree of vertices along with the neighbors. So suppose you want to check that option C and option A are isomorphic, we can consider that suppose A has its neighbor with degree 3. So in this graph also that if you are considering A point is this, if you are considering A point is this from the A graph, from the first graph, so it should be having the neighbor with the same degree. Otherwise, there will be a conflict because your claim will be wrong that these points are similar. Okay, so same way we will consider the 4 point as minimum cycle length. So as we saw in our earlier example, in the slide number 4, where we discussed the exact matching, we are discussing the same thing with the theoretically. How will you prove theoretically that these graphs are isomorphic or these graphs have exact matching? So we consider it we consider these two graphs and find one node such that we get equal conditions. So when we say that minimum cycle length, so suppose that minimum cycle length is can be minimum cycle length or maximum cycle length, we can say that this is a path. Okay, suppose this is a cycle, so you should be getting this cycle in this graph and in this graph as well. Okay, so these are the certain checks which should be sufficed in when you perform isomorphism or exact graph matching. And there are certain other outline cases as well, 5 and 6, which can be performed on the basis of chromatic number or the planarity check and other parameters. So concluding this, that we have a parameter that is a fine-tune parameter, which will be telling us that how much you want to fine-tune your matching. So when you give a higher value of that parameter, as we saw in this code, that if m distance less than 0.75 into the distance, right? So if you perform a higher value of this distance parameter or this constant, then you get the exact matching. Whereas on applying lower value of this parameter, you will get inexact matching. So sometimes there may be a case when you come up with an image which is actually the matching, which is actually matching with the test training image, but your computer recognize, your algorithm recognize it as not matching. But in that case, there may be a case that you have set a value of your fine tune parameter very high, because there may be a case that the query image is not exactly similar to the test training image, right? So in this way, we actually say that our fine-tune parameter should be a minima. I mean, it should lie on a local minima or a global minima. It should not be very high or not very low, but it should be on a optimal one. Because when you said a high, where on applying a 99% or a higher value, we get only those matches which are exactly same. So no matter of the matches in the matching domain, we may get rejected, and vice versa. And this way we come to end of the presentation, and thank you. That we have a parameter that is a fine-tune parameter, which will be telling us that how much you want to fine-tune your matching. So when you give a higher value of that parameter, as we saw in this code, that if m distance less than 0.75 into the distance, right? So if you perform a higher value of this distance parameter or this constant, then you get the exact matching. Whereas on applying lower value of this parameter, you will get inexact matching. So sometimes there may be a case when you come up with an image which is actually the matching, which is actually matching with the test training image, but your computer recognize, your algorithm recognize it as not matching. But in that case, there may be a case that you have set a value of your fine tune parameter very high, because there may be a case that the query image is not exactly similar to the test training image, right? So in this way, we actually say that our fine tune parameter should not be very high or not very low, but it should be on a optimal one. Because when you said a high, where on applying a 99% or a higher value, we get only those matches which are exactly same. So no matter of the matches in the matching domain, we may get rejected, and vice versa. And this way we come to end of the presentation, and thank you.